the most disgustingly diabolical thing about racism is how so many of us know the history of it in this country in and out. I'm so tired of scrolling down my feed and hearing about how, a group of Neanderthalic barbarians treated our ancestors. Like we constantly hearing the stories. Oh, they wore our teeth, they wore our skin, they ate us. That is the nature of a barbarian. That is the nature of a caveman. That is the nature of beings who are insecure, beings who feel inferior. The whole purpose of conquering a people, making them prisoners of war, making them slaves, is to assert dominance and use them as a resource for your survival. Because when you are a caveman, when you are a barbarian, when you are a brute, this is the logic. But that's not even the part that really disgusts me, because we live in a Christian society. The God that so many of y'all serve in this country, and the dollar, because y'all love money, capitalism, and God we trust, goes back to that. The God y'all serve wanted you to sacrifice your children, wanted Abraham to sacrifice his son, but then a ram so happened to be in the bush, because we gonna say the boys, because this is patriarchy, and they could work harder. You know what I'm saying? A boy can work harder, and it's more valuable than a goat. So we're going to save the men. We're going to save the men because they could die in war for us. They could die in battle for us. But we ain't necessarily got to say the girls, because it's a lot of girls. It'd be more females born than males. And we really only need them for their reproductive system. We could unalive a few of your daughters. But we gonna save the men because we need them for war. We need their bodies for war. But literally, the God you serve wanted you to sacrifice your children. So, and that's even though it's supposed to be separation of church and state, literally, again, on the dollar, which is what's really the God of this nation, it says in God we trust. And which God are we talking about? So that's not the most diabolical thing for me when a caveman dies, when a Neanderthal dies, because I don't know him, but from the comments, from what people saying, it's another Neanderthalic, brute, fascist, whatever you want to call it, has passed on. I didn't really have any comments about that. But what I do want to talk about is how we allow this to distract us from the things that we can change. Like the Serenity Prayer says, help me to accept the things that I cannot change, to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Black people, if you don't have any power in this nation, if you can't be racist, because the systems don't support you being racist to white people, because you can use that same system to help you discriminate against the undesirables in your own community. You can use the system to support you in your ideologies. And I'll give you an example. If I go into the Social Security office and I need help with something, like I need my gender marker change or my ID change, and it's a black person working at the desk, that black person can deny me because in the rules, in the system that was rigged against us, they can follow that rule book to the T. And they do it all the time. They can tell, oh no, I can't help you, that's against the rules. And you can go to a white person and ask for help with the same thing. And what the black person wouldn't do, the white person will. And so, and a lot of times, because black people, no tea, no shade, are the essential workers. They are the frontline workers. They are the face of these buildings and these organizations when you come in, like in these institutions, like when you go, when dealing with public transportation, when you're going into like SSI, Social Security office, when you're going into the welfare office, when you're going into these places, a lot of times you see people that look like you. And the funny thing about it is, it's always the Caucasians, in my experiences, that seem to be able to find the loopholes. But it will be people who look like you who will be following the rules, you know. And so, yeah, we don't make the rules, but we damn sure follow them. How? Sometimes more than the Caucasians do. That's a whole nother video. So having this conversation constantly, I don't get cracking jokes and making fun. It's like that is the normalization of the toxicity of the whole situation. Like, I know some black people feel like, well, child, they was hanging us from trees and they was bringing their children out to watch us be unalived and they was laughing. Okay, I know this is nothing new what I'm getting ready to say, but do two wrongs make a right. Like, how are we ever, if we're going to fall into the same trap, then how do we get out of it? Are we just it's just gonna keep getting uglier and uglier? Like, how do we clean it up? Like how if nothing changes, then nothing changes. Like, I'm not understanding. It's not vengeance, it's not justice, you know, it's just sad. It's literally it's just sad all the way around, you know. And so I just wish that people who look like me would just focus, and not even just people who look like me, but just people who are enlightened enough, people who are conscious enough, people who are focused enough, people who are present enough, you know, and people who really care, and people who want to see more inclusivity, more compassion, prosperity for people who have been marginalized and pushed out for no apparent reason. Not because they were monsters, or, you know, they were trafficking children, or, you know, they were robbers and unalivers and just around here chronically harming and harassing and had a history of violence, but just because they're trying to live, just because they're trying to survive. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to go ahead and get off of this too. As far as in regards to trans community, because I have to, like, you know, slide this in right fast, y'all got to stop listening to girls who just took a hormone shot last year. Y'all gotta stop censoring. And I'm not saying they don't need to be heard. I'm saying stop making, like, I notice, like, y'all be up under the comment section kind of like the same way y'all be with the white people. Once a white person, because a lot of Caucasian people, and I'm not saying all of them do this, some of them be caping for black people for views. They be caping for black people because it's an opportunity to capitalize. They cape for women because it's an opportunity to capitalize. And I'm not finna say that is just only exclusive to white people, because there's a lot of people who pretend like they care about other marginalized communities or other communities that have been historically pushed to the fringes or messed over. Like there's a lot of people on here pretending like they really give a crap about those communities because it's an opportunity to capitalize. And so we just gonna call a thing. But there's a lot of new trans people who are putting on wigs and just took a hormone shot last year, went to go get some facial film, out here acting like they're the oracle. Out here giving you very much trans guru. And I'm not saying that we shouldn't hear them. I'm not saying that we shouldn't hold space for them. But what I'm saying is, child, this should not be like when you want advice about the community, or when you trying to understand the community, and when you trying to really, really go into depths. These are not the people that you should be centering. Like, I'm not saying don't listen to them. Everybody's voice matters. Everybody's voice is important. The moment somebody tell you that I just started my transition yesterday, or I just started taking hormones yesterday, or I just had facial film 6 months ago. Like, the moment somebody say that, like the first time somebody tell you that they literally only been living in transition for like a year and a couple of months, you should say, okay, I'm gonna keep listening, but this does not go in the file that says they represent the trans community. This does not go into the file of I'm going to get wisdom and full understanding. And that's the same way we should look at anybody out here caping for communities that they don't have a lot of experience in. Like, I'm going to listen to a white person who is saying positive things about black people and positive things about black women. I'm going to listen to black men who are saying positive things about black women and who are saying positive things about, the community. I'm going to listen to straight people who are saying positive things about the queer community and positive things about the trans community. But I'm definitely not finna center their voice and prize what they have to say above people who actually have 20 and 30 years worth of lived experience. Discernment is key. And again, when it comes to racism, when it comes to the issue of racism, I am more concerned about building community, being in community with people who love me, people who value me, people who respect me, and people who I love, value, and respect. Like reciprocity. I'm more concerned about that. I am not finna get caught in this quicksand. I am not fixing to, because I know all of this is rage bait. And a lot of y'all, you're eating it. Like, a lot of black people try to pretend like they so upset about racism, but really y'all here for it. It gives you meaning. It gives your life purpose to be mad about racism. And so again, grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. I cannot change racism. The only thing I could do is work on me and model the type of person that I want to model in society, and bam. But me constantly talking about what white people have done, because we're never going to play the whole tape. It's not beneficial. And let's be clear, the reason why this is such a biased conversation, because when we talk about what white people have done to black people, we're not having the conversation about what white people have done to other white people. These father suckers, the best and the brightest amongst them, would sleep with their siblings in order to sustain and maintain the royal bloodline. And so when we talk about them graping our direct ancestors, they were willing to sleep with their siblings. The royals, the best and the brightest, were sleeping with their siblings to secure the bloodline. And just exactly what do you think was coming up out of that? We're not having a conversation about how white people have historically just been violent. Like, they ate each other. They tortured each other. Like, they literally, BDSM is a real thing. Like, they do twisted stuff to each other for fun. So, and this is something that's been going on. They legit got torture chambers. So, we're just not playing the whole tape, like how we were invested in the past, the twisted history between deeply melanated and lightly melanated beings. Like, there's a whole, like, and I rarely hear people who speak about this in a way that is not biased. And, you know, I understand the bias, but I rarely hear people who are willing to play the whole tape when having this conversation. And that's the only way we're going to heal. You know, we're going to keep having you on this side and you on that side. It's going to keep being you're bad and you're good, you're evil and I'm good, I'm higher and you're lower. It's going to keep coming out like that. And that is not how we cultivate collective healing. So I don't think that's what some of us want. I think some of us like the cat fight. I think some of us like the rage bait. I think some of us like all of that. And those are the voices that are being centered. And the reason why they're being centered is because we're headed towards a handmaiden's tale situation. We're headed towards a situation where a lot of us are going to be oppressed and unalived and dreadfully mistreated, and it's going to be giving Hunger Games tease. And a lot of people want that. They're pretending they don't want it, but they done got so wrapped up in you could tell by what content a person consumes on a regular, like what content people digest. Like you could just look what's on a person's feed, what type of theater, entertainment, what type of things they like to watch. You know what a person is really deeply intrinsically here for. That content, that feed ain't gonna never lie. They be saying it's just entertainment. It's entering your psyche. Your psyche can manifest this in reality. So some of y'all secretly here for it, and you know, just like they ain't gotta hide under the hoods and the capes no more. Some black people, y'all are here for the shenan, and then y'all want to shenan again. Let's just go ahead and keep it real. Y'all here for this. And so, but where I am with this whole thing, you know, where I am with racism and just all of this stuff is, help me, God Goddess, grant me the wisdom. You know what I'm saying? This is where I'm at. To accept the things that I cannot change, to change the things that I can, and give me the wisdom to know the difference. So I won't be sitting up here tongue wrestling. I don't want to go backwards and forwards with my melanin rich siblings or my saltine colored siblings. A man, a woman, not here for it. Trying to get into that. Because it's essentially, y'all been doing the same thing for centuries now. Centuries. If nothing changes, nothing changes. So be the change that you want to see in the world. A man, a woman. Leilem, leilem. I love y'all. Take care. Leilem, leilem nation. Purple ones. Rise.